December 2010. Hello? Where did this island come from? Is that a person? How lovely. It's been a long time since I talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost. I am completely out of ideas. Oh no! What's happened? Did something change? There was a machine that kept me going, and it stopped. Wait, you're looking for a machine? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. I need to see it. I need to know why it stopped.
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
Okay, so we're gonna have to solve a puzzle. Perfect. Come along, I'll show it to you.
Because from my perspective at the time, and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
First you have to close the door, first you have to open the door, first you have to press the switch on the door, on the inside. First you have to open the door. Okay, now what? Now you have to close the first door, now you have to open the first door, now you have to press the switch on the inside. Now you have to close the first door. Alright, what's next? Now you press the switch here. Huh, that was so simple.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
There's no machine here. Trust me, you'll see it. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say that the game development is simple and joyous and that you love it 100% of the time. Number 1. Okay, making games is simple. Ah, that feels wonderful. Three. Why did I feel so awful when I said that? Don't worry about it, just keep talking. Keep saying that the creation is easy. 3. It is easy, never stops being easy. It's wonderful, keep going!
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering.
Every time I make something, I feel better about myself. Just never stop creating and you'll never feel bad. It's such a simple solution. Number 1. Perfect. That feels
This is someone I
fantastic.
really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
Pain breezes effortlessly off me. Any sacrifices made for my work are worth it 100% of the time. It always pays off eventually. I'm going number 2. Yes, more. Keep going.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
Okay.
But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
May 2011. The Machine. Ma'am, glad to see you've arrived safely. We've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You can begin the interrogation whenever you like. 1. I intend to be quick. Very good. Just be warned that someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention on this one. Also, one more thing that you should know about the machine. It calls itself Coda. Okay. There are a lot of press. Okay.
And of course, it's the machine.
You stopped. You stopped feeding us. Your work was keeping us alive. Your work was keeping us healthy. 2. Your work was keeping us alive. Those people out there, can you imagine what pain you put them through? It was only because of you, of your creations, that any of us could make it through every day. How could we possibly go back to trusting you to do this job? Number 2. So here's what needs to happen. You need to get to the people. You need to go to the people who are out there and apologize to them. You have to admit to the people that you allowed them to suffer. I've been so alone. Code 3. I've been so alone. Number 1. Apologize for leaving me. No, nothing. Think carefully. I know how to hurt you. I've seen the thing that you fear. Number 2. Number 1. Alright, I will apologize to people on your behalf. My followers. Falls on me to deliver bad news. I have a troubling revelation. Falls on me to deliver bad news. The machine refuses to admit that it deliberately hurt us. This is not important. We are stronger than it thinks we are. We will find a way to live without it. We do not need its games. 2. We will find a way to live without it. We do not need its games. Let us pay it retribution. Let us show it that we are not failures. Let us show it that we are not failures. Follow me, we will destroy everything that the machine has created. Okay. Oh. Okay. Oh my goodness.
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for it? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
He's very white now.
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Okay. Put down your weapon.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because
All
it's
we
the
can do
thing
is
that
shoot.
I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something... I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy. So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
Okay. June 2011. The Tower. This looks very much like the Stanley Parable. Just like the colors.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
Okay. Oh, come on, game. Don't do this to me. Here we go.
This room actually has a maze in it. except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
Yes, please. Thank you. The red flashing actually hurts my eyes, so... Oh my gosh, this stupid game! It, like, keeps my keys, like, down or something like that. It's just... Try to walk forward. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. I don't know, like, any other game that I play, it doesn't, like, keep the keys pressed
And to be
down.
fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
So 1, 5, 1, 6. Oops, I hit the wrong one. 6, 1,